Welcome to the 27th Sunday in Ordinary Time. Today, the readings once again use the metaphor of the vineyard to explain the way we live our lives. The question this time is about how we are using the extraordinary gifts that God has given us. In this parable, the landowner represents God and the vineyard the people of Israel. The tenants are the religious and political leaders who God expected to look after his people, and the harvest is the good and wholesome lives that God wanted them to cultivate. The landowner's son is Jesus, and the servants he sends to collect the produce are the prophets. This parable gives us a good summary of Jesus' life. He was sent by his Father to the people of Israel to show them how to produce good fruit. But, as we know, the leaders of the time considered him a threat to their privilege and power, so they had him killed. These leaders were living the good life in God's vineyard, and they refused to be held accountable for it. This parable also reminds us of the story of Adam and Eve. God said to Adam, "Take care of all creation," after he'd made it. But after being tempted by the serpent, they both decided that it wasn't enough to be caretakers. They wanted the garden all for themselves, without any limits, so they turned their backs on God and thereafter suffered the consequences. Now, isn't all this really the story of our own world today? God created our beautiful world. He designed it to produce lots of wonderful fruits for the benefit of everyone. None of us owns this world. It still belongs to God. And although each one of us has been given a piece of it to look after, it's not enough simply to keep our patch tidy and weed-free. We actually need to produce something worthwhile and nourishing that benefits the other people that are around us and also pleases God. Collectively, we are the caretakers of his planet, and God expects a harvest of good fruit from us all. But so many of us have let him down. Too many of us have plundered the earth's resources and used God's gifts for our own selfish purposes, giving nothing in return. Too many of us produce little or no fruit. And worse still, some people are actually producing bad fruit. Consider all the cruelty, corruption, violence and pollution in our world today. At the end of today's Gospel, Jesus reminds us that he is the keystone, the solution we are looking for. In John 15:5, Jesus says, "I am the vine, and you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit." Jesus was planted in us at our baptism. And today God is calling us to cultivate the vine in our lives. We are meant to produce a rich harvest of good fruit. Inasmuch as he speaks to the Pharisees of old, so does he speak to us today too. They rejected Christ, the heir to the vineyard. They even killed him, thinking that that was the right thing to do, to claim full ownership of the vineyard. But unfortunately, what they thought they were doing was going to be their advantage soon became their ruin. So, for the times we have disappointed God, let us with the psalmist today implore the Lord of the vineyard into our lives. God of hosts, turn again, we implore. Look down from heaven and see. God of hosts, bring us back, and we shall not forsake you again.